Oh.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The notice requirement of the open public meeting law has been satisfied with respect to this meeting, specifying the time, date, and location, including the annual notice adopted at the reorganization meeting of the board, filed with the clerk of the city of Paterson, posted in City Hall, and mailed to at least 2 newspapers in accordance with the provisions of the law. I'm going to call roll in one moment. Commissioner Arenas.
Present.
Commissioner Barat.
Present.
Commissioner Dumas. Commissioner Dumas, absent. Commissioner Furman.
Present.
Commissioner Minato. Absent. Commissioner Roheen.
Present.
Commissioner Watkins. Present. Commissioner Vega.
Present.
Chairman Thaxton. All right, I'm going to call the agenda. First matter on the agenda is 755, 757 East 27th Street, Bahram Waladzi, Block 3911, Lot 14. Is the applicant present?
President, ready,
Thank you, counsel. Next matter on the agenda is 33-37 Richmond Avenue, Feliz de la Hoz and Michelle Dominguez, Block 1508, Lot 10. Is the applicant present?
President, ready.
Thank you. Hey, counsel, there's some confusion with regard to another matter, which is 911 Day Street for Day Properties LLC. This is a matter that was previously scheduled for August 30th, 2021. At that time, the matter was carried to this evening's meeting on the record. However, it did not, in fact, make the agenda. In addition, the adjournment wasn't published in the newspaper by the applicant. I know we have interested parties here and objectors, but I'm concerned with regard to the notice.
Understood. Again, this matter was carried, you are correct. There was a possibility of modifications when the applicant had decided to move forward as is. And my working with the individuals that are in the planning and zoning department assisting us during Ms. Vega's absence, my understanding was the agenda that they would provide would allow me to publish in the newspaper off that agenda. On the new matters, I'm doing them automatically, so unfortunately I didn't get that notice.
No, and I understand that. And
Yeah.
it wasn't meant to be critical.
Understood.
Actually, the opposite. The
Yeah.
opposite was that it didn't make the agenda, and my hope was that if it was in fact published,
Right.
maybe we could work around it
Right.
and see if it made sense.
Right.
But without it being on the agenda, therefore not on the city's website,
Right.
and not published, even though it was carried and properly carried on August 30th, I don't feel comfortable.
Understood.
And even though there are members of the public here, there may be other members of the public that were interested who are not here.
Understood.
So having said that, the people in the audience, who is here on 911 Day Street? All right, so there's quite a few people here on that. Due to an issue with notice and scheduling, the matter is not going to be heard this evening, and we're going to address it in one moment. I just have a moment to talk to the chairman.
trying to send a...
Yeah. Counsel,
Yes, sir. You're right.
you know, in hindsight, I'm looking at this, trying to see if there was a date we could give you this evening.
Uh-huh.
But it's kind of like it's the same issue, right?
Yeah.
Even if I was able to give you a date, which I'm not readily available, I don't have readily available, I still think you would have to notice regardless because of the notice issue for tonight's meeting.
Not a problem.
So, I'm going to let the city, the planning office know tomorrow morning what happened and ask that they get you a date and coordinate with you right away. But
Understood.
so to the members of the public that are present and members of the public who may be watching this at home, the meeting for 911 Day Street for Day Properties LLC is not going to be heard this evening, and it's not being adjourned with a date, meaning that you will receive notice. If you received notice originally, if you're a property owner within the 200 feet, you will receive notice again of the new date, and the matter will be advertised as well. I apologize that you came out on this rainy night, but nothing's going to happen this evening. Not us, the applicant will.
A new notice.
If you received notice last time, right? So I don't know who owns, who rents, who whatever. If you received notice last time, notice will go to you again. Sir, I can't hear you. You want to approach for a moment, sir?
Certified mail.
However, did you receive certified mail to come for the first meeting? Yeah. Then you'll get the same exact thing with the new date.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
He sent it to you last time, right? Well, then I'm not concerned that he won't send it to you again. All right? Of course.
Sent.
We're going to talk to the staff tomorrow to see. So they got to give us a new date tomorrow morning with the staff in the city office. So we'll talk tomorrow morning. And then you might want to talk again to Matt.
Don't waive your time constraints.
TJ, sorry. You got it. No problem. For the record, council time, I'm sorry, I forgot. Just wanted to indicate that statutory time requirements are waived until such time as we get a date, available. Okay. Yep. Mm-hmm.
We're not going to hear this, because he didn't give us the plans. You listen to me and, okay, Mr. Mariconda?
Yes, sir.
I only sent out one notice on this application, which was dated 5/29/2021. I'm not sure if you got it, and if you read it.
I have one dated May 31st.
Okay, maybe Maggie sent it out May 31st.
Oh, okay.
Mine was dated 5/29, it went to you and to her, or she sent it to you.
Yeah.
After I sent it to her.
Right.
And it should say that the application is incomplete, right?
All it says to me is that a subdivision must be prepared by a licensed land surveyor, which had been provided with the application and sent on to you. I guess originally Maggie had not forwarded the subdivision map to you, and you also needed a description of the house, of the existing house, the interior, which I emailed to you. So I have that another copy of that with me as well.
Well, I don't have that other copy of the existing house.
We did not do a full site plan of that existing house. We provided you with a sketch of the interior 2 floors.
Okay, but there is a full basement in that house as well. The reason, I remember seeing that, but I thought something else was coming.
Okay.
Because twofold, Mr. Mariconda. One, the board has always, since I've been here, asked to see the existing house. If you remember, on a couple occasions, I even made inspections because you couldn't get a plan, and I made an inspection and did a report on an inspection. So I wasn't offered to do an inspection, and I didn't get any plans. The reason for that is you need to know how many bedrooms are there so you could calculate parking.
Right.
And there's other issues aside from maybe illegal apartments. And that's why the board always asks for those plans. Now, I don't have those plans, so I didn't do a report.
Okay.
I don't have a report because we are waiting, you know.
We thought that the interior sketches providing the number of bedrooms was going to be sufficient. I had not heard back from you in that regard, but I understand if you feel you need to carry it administratively, understood.
Well, the only problem I have with those hand-drawn, that the person drawing them is not going to show a 10-bedroom house if there's 10 bedrooms there, or an illegal apartment in the basement. And at least if a professional does it, like Mr. Romanek, and somebody's on the hook. Then Mr. Romanek, if he says there's only 1 bedroom in that house, and for some reason we find out there's 2 families there, and, you know, we have Mr. Romanek's plan and a professional to hold, you know, responsible for the board's action.
Okay, so we'll...
So, yeah, so unfortunately, I didn't,
Okay.
you know, I didn't feel that
Didn't
that was...
complete your review.
Yeah, so there was no review stating all the proposed variances, and, well, I looked at the existing variances, I mean, the proposed variances for the new house, but I couldn't do the old house.
Okay. So this matter will be carried, counsel? First listing. It's not a difficult modification or addition to the plan that can be resolved quickly. And it's a non-use variance application. It's a bulk variance, minor sub. Straight bulk and minor sub. 1 family house in an R1 zone.
And just, I don't have it in front of me, just why is it in front of our board then?
Frankly, I think this belonged at the planning board. I guess that was just steered during the administrative process. I do think it's really a planning board application, but
Well,
it could go to either board, I guess.
it is a planning board application based on municipal land use law.
Yeah.
And I brought that up to Mike Deutsch
Yeah,
7 years ago. It said, municipal land use law says, if you're not requesting a D variance,
Yeah.
and it's a permitted use with just C variances, as long as you provide a site plan, it can go to the planning board.
right. And I would accept that.
And I asked Mike Deutsch that, and he said, if it's a variance, we send it to the zoning board. So I haven't argued with him,
Yeah.
but
I mean-
municipal land use law says that you
Yeah.
could go to the planning board on that, but
If you want to carry it without date, I'll speak to the director again, and I do believe probably it's appropriate from everybody's point of view that this is a planning board matter.
I mean, I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not the engineer, I'm not the planner, but if there's no use and it's an R1.
It's clearly a planning board matter.
Is there an issue with height?
No, there's nothing else that would take it to Board of Adjustments, I don't think.
It's not stories or height?
No?
just, I'm not sure if there was, if it's 1 and 2 family, there isn't density. So,
It's a one-family.
yeah. But we don't have any floor plans to show it's a 1 family, but even a 2 family I don't think has density, so I don't
Right.
think there's a D variance involved.
Right.
But again, 7 years ago, when I mentioned that
Yeah.
to Mike Deutsch,
Yeah,
he said, if it's a variance, we're sending it to zoning.
Yeah, I think this was just missed by Mr. Torrey and Mr. Deutsch when they first reviewed it.
All right, so let's carry it without a date.
Yeah.
Is anybody here on this application as an interested party?
I don't think so.
Ma'am?
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Ma'am, you want to come to the podium? Ma'am, are you here as an objector?
Yes, I am.
As an objector?
Yes.
Okay. And what I'm going to ask is, I'm going to ask counsel to get your information so he can stay in touch with you. The matter is not going to be heard this evening.
Okay.
There's additional plans that need to be supplied. So it's getting adjourned without a date. So you would have to get notice of a new date.
Okay.
The matter is before us. right?
Okay.
There's the potential, based on counsel's endeavors, that it may go to the other board. But right now, it's before us, and it should be scheduled in front of us. But regardless, you're within 200 feet, you received notice originally?
Yeah, I received it, but it wasn't certified mail. It was just, and I just got it a couple days ago.
Okay.
I don't send out any regular mail letters, so sometimes the certified mail is delayed, but that's.
I understand, I got your green card receipts, I have it. All right, so you'll receive notice one way or the other,
Okay.
all right? Thank you, ma'am.
Lisa Weaver.
I'll take her phone number, stay in touch with her.
Yeah, get her address or her phone number, if you got the map anyway.
If you want to talk to your neighbor, this is the gentleman who owns the house, but if you don't, you don't have to. Okay?
Next matter. Next matter is 3337 Richmond Ave.
No, that's the one we just received.
Oh, okay.
It's number one now.
755, 757 East 27th Street.
Okay.
Mr. Mariconda?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. For the record, Alan Maricondo, on behalf of the applicant.
Okay, do the commissioners have the plan for this? I just gave you the new, my report, because of, there was an issue. But you have the plans, any of them? Because I have them here. What, okay.
No. We did not.
Okay, hold on. Hopefully I have enough. This is the site plan. This is the... Just give us a minute, Mr. Maricondo.
Oh, no problem. I have extra site plan if you need it.
Well, she has the 14 copies, I hope. This is the site plan, architect's plan, architect's plan.
Harry, I also have, I'm not worried about it. I have one of each extra if you need it.
No, we got it.
Okay.
We're good. Site plan and architect's plan.
Or Glenn maybe.
Evelyn, do you need it? Commissioners, there was a little bit of confusion with Penny and myself. The one I gave you was 751, 753 East 27th Street. This is 755, 757, which is next door. Not even realizing that there were two next door to one another, that when I sent it to Penny, that was the one she okayed, and it's next door. That's why you're getting these now.
Proceed, Mr. Chairman. Thank you very much. Again, Alan Maricondo on behalf of the applicant, who are with me this evening. I have Mr. Romanek as our architect planner as well. This is a site, as the planner and I have discussed, which came before your board a little less than 4 years ago, 3.5 years ago. At that time, it was a one-family house in need of major rehabilitation, and the applicant came before your board seeking to convert it and renovate it and rehabilitate it and we were approved by a unanimous vote of 6 yes and no against at that time. Unfortunately, my client's family, Baram is here this evening, he's the son. The original applicant was Karima, which is his parents. And we, at that point, were unable to proceed with the approval you granted us. Unfortunately, there were 2 fires that this property was the subject of after the approval and before my clients could proceed to act on the approval that you granted. So, unfortunately, these fires resulted in a total loss. Fire reports are on record and so forth. So what I'd like to do before we proceed is mark the exhibit of the prior approval, if I could.
So before we do that, let me ask you one question. When was the prior approval?
The prior approval was 12/21/17 by this board.
And so it expired what?
Well, I guess 2 years with a full permit, but we had fires. But this is a new project.
They were remodeling the house that was burnt. Now, they eliminated that, and they're putting up a new structure in the back of the property. So it's a new app.
It's a new presentation. I just wanted to give a little. So if I'd like to have it just to show that the site was approved for a 3-family.
We'll mark it as A1.
If he asks. Sorry, I flipped on me. So, whenever you're ready, okay. So as Mr. Paparazzi actually correctly indicated, following up on my opening comment, this is basically a new presentation because we are now building a brand-new house. The common element that runs through this, of course, is that your board reviewed the appropriateness of a 3-family house on this site, and now we're coming back, frankly, with something that's much, much better, and of course, has the potential for even better quality and code compliance than a rehab house would have. So with that being said, I'll call Mr. Romanek.
Yes. I do. Michael Romanek, R-O-M-A-N-I-K. I'm an architect and planner. I have an office at 291 Crooks Avenue in Paterson.
Mr. Chairman, would you accept Mr. Romanek? Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Romanek, you heard my opening, of course, and Mr. Paparazzi's comments. Could you give the board an overview of what's on the site now and what we'd like to do?
Yes, well, the property now is vacant. I think, Commissioners, if you turn to the architectural plans, you'll see the building that we're discussing, and then we can look at the site plan, but you'll have an idea as far as...
You'll be testifying as to architectural, site plan, and planning testimony.
Yes,
Okay.
Commissioners, so looking at the architectural plan, you see what we're proposing. It's essentially a 3-story building, 3 families. Each of the families is a 3-bedroom apartment. There's a diagrammatic site plan on sheet number 1 to the upper right-hand corner of that sheet. The building is set back, as you can see from the drawing, with parking in the front. Looking at the front elevation, you'll see there's a entry at approximately grade level, of course. It's first floor. You have to go up some stairs, and you'll see the other elevations of the buildings as well. And what we are proposing, Commissioners, as I indicated, are 3 3-bedroom apartments. You can see in the summary on the right-hand side, the first floor apartment, 3 bedrooms, again, contains 1,360 square feet. And each of the second and third floors also contains 1,360 square feet. which contain the three-bedroom apartments. We do satisfy the 1,100 square feet minimum that is required by the zoning ordinance. The height of the building is 34 feet 4 inches, and we do summarize as far as the amenities go. Also shown on sheet number 1, you'll see that a washer dryer is contained in each apartment. There will be a dishwasher in each apartment. Security cameras will be provided throughout the building, including the stairways and exterior of the building. Fire protection, we're providing an automatic sprinkler system as well as a fire alarm system. Each unit will have heating and cooling provisions, and as far as recycled items and garbage, they are contained in the apartment, in the kitchen areas, and they would be brought out to the curb, just like any other dwelling there. Again, there's only 3 apartments in this structure, as you can see. Commissioners, if we turn to sheet number 2, you'll see the floor plan layout of each of the apartments. The middle diagram shows the entry area with the stairway leading to the 2nd and 3rd floors. You can see that we are proposing 3 bedrooms. One contains a master bedroom, which has obviously a master bathroom, as well as a large 2 walk-in closets. There are 2 other secondary bedrooms with a common bath area. You can see the combined dining, kitchen, and living area to the right of the diagram itself. And looking to the far right of sheet number 2, you'll see the 2nd floor plan and 3rd floor plan, which are typical. It's typical to the 1st floor plan, as you can see, except we're not going beyond the 3rd floor, of course. It's a 3-story building. To the far left, you'll see the same footprint of the building above, which is 35 feet in depth by a width of 42 feet. And in the basement area, that would contain all the utility lines as far as the meters, as well as the sprinkler valve, which would also be contained in the basement area. And again, the summary, as you can see, we're providing those amenities, which we feel are important to the dwellers. And the gross floor area, I didn't mention that, it's 1,470 square feet. And the footprint for the basement, the 1st floor and 2nd and 3rd floors are identical. And again, we do satisfy the minimum apartment areas, which is 1,100 square feet. We're providing 1,360 square feet. So having looked at the diagram, Commissioners, on sheet number 1, you'll see what we're proposing. Again, it's a 3-story building. If we can turn to the site plan drawing, the property is currently vacant. It's 50 feet of frontage along East 27th Street. It has a depth of 100 feet, totaling 5,000 square feet. As you can see from the boundary and topography map, which is in the upper left-hand corner of the sheet itself, there are other details on the sheet showing provisions for new utilities as far as providing gas and water to the subject site itself. Also, there will be a drainage system which is going to serve not only the parking area, as you can see from the proposed conditions plan, which is essentially is the site diagram. It also picks up the water from the roof as well as the parking area. And you can see the building is set back towards the rear of that building itself. You'll see the dimensions on the site plan, as I indicated, 35 feet deep by a width of 42 feet. We are providing a 4-foot setback on the right side, as well as a 4-foot setback on the left side. There's a 4-foot setback on the rear as well. And the lot coverage itself, and I will tell you how the zoning table is set up, and what we did was based it on an R3 zone, which allows multiple family zoning. The property is in an MU zone, which is a mixed-use zone. We are providing a multiple family, 3 units, so we did make the comparison based on the R3 zone. Looking at the amount of land area required, and again, based on the R3 zone for a 3-family house, each unit requires 1,650 square feet of land area. We have 3 apartments, which would total 4,950 square feet of land. We are providing 5,000 square feet. So we feel based on that, obviously the comparison shows that we are providing adequate lot area.
Mr. Romanek?
Yes.
If you look at your site plan, he says that the requirement is 8,250 square feet.
I don't agree with that. That's why I didn't mention it.
Okay.
Yeah, we would correct that on the site plan.
That would be corrected.
He also says that the frontage, the minimum width is 80 feet, and it's not, it's 50 feet.
You're absolutely correct. I didn't mention that.
Okay,
but
and if you look at my list of variances,
He skipped 3 of them, and he also skipped the floor area ratio. Floor area ratio is not a problem, but he also skipped it. But he
Yes.
also, I have 3 variances that were not listed. Those are some of the mistakes that Mr. Stearns needs to correct,
Yes.
along with the
Lot width, what else, Gary? Sorry.
Well, here, I'll repeat them. As a matter of fact, the floor area ratio allows 1.2. We have, in fact, 0.88, so we're well below the amount of floor area that's allowed on the lot. The lot coverage is 29.4%, which is okay, because 40% is allowed. And again, the lot area and lot width, we do satisfy having 50 feet of lot width in the area, again, based on the R3 zone. We have 5,000 square feet, and 4,950 feet is allowed. With respect to the setbacks, yes, I did note also that we have a rear, which is proposed as 4 feet. We do need 25 feet, so that is a variance that we're seeking there. On both sides, we are providing a 4-foot setback on each yard. They both must total 14 combined. Ours obviously total 8, so we are seeking a variance for the total setback. Instead of having 14 feet total, we have 8 feet. The height of the building is 34 feet and 4 inches, which allows 3 stories. We are proposing 3 stories, and the allowance is 35 feet, so we do comply with the height requirements.
And that's another mistake on GB.
Yes, that all has to be corrected on the site engineer's plan, absolutely. So we do satisfy those items as I indicated, and we do need variances for those particular items that I did mention. But the important thing here, Commissioners, I think obviously the lot area is very comparable to an R3 zone, which does allow having 3 units on something that's 5,000 square feet approximately, or actually even 3,950 square feet. So we do satisfy that. The parking, we are providing 6 spaces, and I know Mr. Paparazzi and we discussed it along with Mr. Mariconda as far as having the parking. We'll have further discussion on that. But for a 3-bedroom apartment, you do need 2.0 parking spaces. The plan shows 6 spaces, so in that regard, we do comply. Now, I did have a chance to check something on the site improvement standards, Mr. Paparazzi, and this is what I normally go by as well, and it's right here where, in fact, it does say, for projects containing dwelling units required by the New Jersey Uniform Construction Code's barrier-free subcode, which as an architect I'm quite familiar with, to be accessible parking spaces for people with disabilities shall be provided in accordance with the requirements of the barrier-free subcode. So we could have discussion on that, but that's what I had mentioned, that the state code, which takes precedence over any other code, certainly the zoning ordinance, because I know that for a fact based on past experience, but it seems like we might comply with it based on my opinion. I know Mr. Paparazzi may have a different opinion, but whenever I look at something like this, it's always the New Jersey Uniform Construction Code. They specifically mention the barrier-free subcode, which is really subject to the code requirements as far as barrier-free. You might hear the words ADA, American Disabilities. That purely is civil rights legislation. There is no code. There is no inspector that checks for ADA requirements. It's civil rights legislation. That's purely what that is. There is no code, believe it or not, for ADA specifically for this in the state of New Jersey. It is, in fact, the barrier-free subcode, which is the subject that code that one follows. So
And whatever
determination is made by the board, certainly, Mr. Paparazzi, I know you'll have some comments, and hopefully it might be acceptable to you. But I think we do comply, whether it's 5 spaces or 6 spaces. I think we do substantially comply with the zoning requirements.
And certainly a vast improvement from prior site.
Well, yes, that is true, because what had burned previously, that the building was in the front, as I understand, and there was very limited parking. So we have something that's quite proper here. And also, if you note on the site plan, Commissioner, you see that we are proposing a drainage system that, as I mentioned, not only would pick up the drainage from the parking lot itself, but also from the roof area. There's 2 seepage pits, as you can see. There'll be a new sidewalk, new concrete sidewalks that will be installed, as well as the driveway. There'll be new curbing and so on. So we certainly feel that this is a great improvement, not only to was proposed previously, but obviously you have a vacant lot now, and this will be a substantial improvement to the neighborhood. I've been out there several times. Looking at the drawing, Commissioners, you'll see everything to the north or to the left going towards 17th Avenue is residential. Everything across the street, in fact, on East 27th Street, from 17th Avenue to 18th Avenue is all residential. We happen to be looking at that building. You can see there, in fact, it says adjacent building. That's a commercial building. It's an auto parts store. And we're proposing the parking, not coincidentally, facing the building because that's a one-story brick building that has no windows. So we felt that, in fact, it would be better facing the right side or the south as opposed to the north where you do have a neighboring property. So we feel that this project would be an improvement to the area. And we feel that based on the fact that we feel substantially compliance with the ordinance, we feel this would be good for Paterson.
I think Mr. Paparazzi also agree with you that the area is all residential with only spot commercial uses.
Yes, that is correct, yes.
Okay, that would conclude Mr. Romanik's direct testimony at this time.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. All right, Mr. Romanik, the American Disabilities Act does have a requirement for parking, which on multifamilies, they say one space is required up to 25, if you provide up to 25, one. Up to 50, it's two. And they have that number, and it is a state code. Additionally, I think Paterson also calls for it for multifamilies, and that's how the board has been enforcing. So I'm going to suggest to the board that the one space has to be ADA compliant, and I think you'll only lose the one space. If you use number one, you could use the cross-hatched area by the building and just push it down a little bit. You still have the room, so you still lose the one space. So instead of having the 6 required, I think you need 5. You're going to have 5. Now, that being said, let's start with your plan. The basement is only accessed from the inside. So is it going to be for, you have the utilities downstairs, tools? What about the tenants? Are the tenants using anything in the basement?
That would be up to the owner, but
Okay.
Are there any
It's
facilities provided for the tenants in the basement at this time?
it's up to the owner if he's going to give them a tenant storage area or so on.
But there's no laundry facilities or anything down there?
As I indicated, the laundry is,
the
washer
unit.
dryers in the
Yeah.
unit.
No, the only reason I'm bringing that up is it has to be separated then with closets or doors. If it's storage for 3 different tenants, you just can't leave it all open, you know?
Yeah.
I think there would just be a war. So that has to be addressed. Now, also, you or GB didn't address garbage, recycling.
It's like a 2 or 3 family house or 1 family. You're going to basically put the garbage and recycled items under your kitchen counter, and each tenant will bring out the garbage to the curb. That's essentially it. There
You're
may
not
be
having
some
pails?
bins outside. There may be some bins outside. We
But you
do
need,
have
you need at least garbage pails. You just can't throw out bags.
Take the bins, yeah. There'll be a garbage can possibly on the outside.
Well, you're gonna need a minimum of 6. You need 1 for each unit for garbage and 1 for recycling.
We can
Yeah,
mark that on the plan. without a
That could
problem.
be, yeah, that could be provided.
Okay, well, that has to be shown.
We will.
Okay.
Put that on GB or yours?
No, on the site plan, it'll be right here, yeah. So we have a 7-foot strip on the far left of the site, 18 feet for the parking, 24 for the,
There's enough space.
so there's 7 feet, yeah, by 60 feet, so that could be easily put there near the building, of course. So-
Yeah, well, yeah. I think you could accommodate it, but it just has to be shown.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, now, the site plan, obviously has, a lot of zoning requirements that are the zoning chart. Although he uses the right comparison, he has a lot of mistakes, and he's missing some of the variances. So I'm going to go over the variances for the commissioners. Now, the first variance is a use variance because residents are not allowed in the MU zone. So the use variance would require 5 affirmative votes. okay? There's a side setback. Now, Mr. Romanek did mention the side setback for both is 14 feet required, 8 feet is proposed. He also mentioned the rear setback is 25 feet, 4 feet is proposed. What GB did not put down was no parking 3 feet to the property line, and you're proposing parking up to the property line. Multifamilies require 900 feet of open space, and there is no open space provided. There is no front yard parking, and that was not listed as well, Mr. Maraconda, those two. Also, no front yard parking is permitted, and front yard parking is proposed. That's not listed as well. So, okay, he needs to change all of those, and those are, in the parking, I have 6 spaces are required, and with the ADA space, I have 5 are provided, so there's only 1 space that is required. So those are the variances. If the board should wish to approve the application, the site plan needs to show the area for recycling and garbage. He has to change his zoning chart. And if the basement is not going to be used for residence, I would like Mr. Romanek to note that on his basement plan, that it is not for basement, for residential use, so that there is no issue with storage or anything to that effect down in the basement. And that's all I have from Mr. Romanek.
My client is, Mr. Romanek is available for any more questions, of course.
Any commissioners have questions of the architect?
Commissioner Vega has one question. So regarding the basement, can you also put in your plans that, I mean, it'd be nice to, if you're gonna rent out these apartments, like Mr. Gary says, how come we can't add just, spaces for each tenant? And that should reflect it in the plan. So like
Yes.
that, it actually looks like you guys are not gonna rent the the basement for, in the
Yes.
future.
Yes, Commissioner.
I
That
just
could be
spoke to
done.
the applicant off the record, and he's definitely agreeable with your point and Gary's point that we can set up designated storage areas for the tenants.
And also, yeah, the most important thing, it's also the garbage area. You guys, we see different plans here, but that should be in every plan where you have tenants. Tenants are gonna come down, they're not gonna put the garbage in the front, they're gonna put it in a dumpster. In a container first, before they put it out front. So there should be like a nice designated area closed in, so they could, doesn't have it to be an eyesore for the city of Paterson to see, because we have a problem with the garbage
Yes.
in the city of
Definitely
Paterson.
have an enclosed area for the bins, segregated by recycling and garbage, and it's, as Gary and Michael indicated, there is definitely enough space for that to happen.
Thank you, that's all my questions.
Okay, Mr. Maraconda.
Thank you.
I do. Baram Walizada.
You can take it down.
Baram Walizada. Baram, last name Wallizadeh.
So, Mr. Wallizada, you are the owner of the property, which was formerly owned by your parents, is that right?
Correct.
Okay, just make sure you keep your voice up. Okay, and you're fully familiar with the history of the approval of the 3-family, and of course, the fires that your family encountered on this site, and that's why you came back to Mr. Romanek, fortunately, to hopefully make something real positive by developing new housing, is that right?
Correct.
Okay, and you're in agreement with all his testimony and all the plans that came before the board tonight?
Yes, I am.
We discussed some changes that have to be made to Mr. Stearns' site plan. You're in agreement with that?
I am.
And so you'll have to designate that garbage bin enclosed area for recycling and garbage.
Yes.
And the basement area, as per the commissioners and Mr. Paparazzi's comments, will have a designated storage area for each tenant,
Yes.
and there'll be no living space in the basement.
No.
That's all I have. I would just point out that your family has worked in Paterson and lived in Paterson for many years. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. So that's all I have, Mr. Chairman, of the applicant at this time, subject to any questions.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Maricondo took care of all the questions. The applicant has agreed to show those spaces on Mr. Romanik's plan, and Mr. Stearns has revisions to make, and we have no issues with that. So I don't have any issues, any other questions for the applicant.
Thank you.
Just wait for the commissioners, just in case.
Any commissioners?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I do have a question. May I please proceed? Thank you. Are you planning to live in this property? Are you gonna occupy the property?
No, it's rental.
Do you have more? Do you own more property now in the city of Paterson?
No, but
Not yourself
not
personally.
myself, but my
But your
family.
family does.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Commissioner Watkins, how you doing?
Okay. How are you?
You presently own that property?
Yes.
I've rode past that place and it's not kept up, and hopefully when the tenants move in there, you keep up that property much better than it's being taken care of right now.
Yes. I plan on it.
Any other commissioner? Okay, Mr. Maricondo, sum up, please.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just briefly, we will comply in all respects with your staff's comments and suggestions for revisions. Again, just to wrap it up, this is a site that the board reviewed intensely a few years ago, and through misfortune, we wind up with something hopefully very much better than was originally planned, in a positive sense. The Commissioner is correct. The site has gone through a lot of difficulties with the two fires, and we really are very positive about the outlook for the future if the board grants this application at this time, subject to the conditions that are set forth on the record. Thank you.
Yes, Commissioners, I read off the variances. The one that, always sticks out is the parking. In this case, it's only one space. And I don't usually have a problem when it's only one space or a couple spaces, because the master plan asks to take care of the empty lots and infill those infill lots to build on them, and that's what the applicant is proposing. It's really, it's three-family, it's not, we've had 50 by 100, we've had a lot more than three-family applications. So it's really not a overburdening application, in my opinion. I think the positive criteria outweighs the negative with the one space and the several variances. I'm just, if anyone makes the motion, I would like to include that the two plans be revised, and there are certain, on GB's plan, on the building to the north, Mr. Romanik, he has proposed building, proposed parking, and it's not proposed. It's not on our lot, but he has a lot of mistakes. Just tell him to pay attention to some detail. And so if anyone makes the motion, I would just ask that you make the motion with those changes if you do, in fact, feel that the application is going to be approved. Thank you.
At this time, can I get a motion?
Commissioner, Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Regal, I want to say, just say something. I wanted to ask, I should have asked this before when the owner was on front. Who's going to be taking care of this property? These are rental homes, right? And I just want to know who's taking care of, who's going to be your guy, your superintendent, or whatever you want to call it? Or,
Problem will you be managing the property yourself?
Yeah, I'm gonna be managing the company myself.
So you're going to be watching the property, cleaning also?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, I'll make a motion to accept the applicant with the changes that need to be addressed in the plans.
Right, so you're making an application, a motion to approve the conditions set out by our planner. That's correct?
That's correct.
Motion by, we have a second.
Second?
Is that Commissioner Williams?
Yes.
Second by Commissioner Rowley. In regard to the motion to approve the conditions and the requirements outlined by the planner, what is your vote on the motion to approve the conditions?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
What's your vote?
Oh,
I'm sorry, what's your vote?
yes.
Yes. Commissioner Baralt?
I second it, yes.
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 Commissioner Furman?
For the record, this is a great application, and hopefully you'll be able to improve the area, keep it clean. Therefore, my vote is yes.
Commissioner Roheen?
Yes.
Commissioner Watkins?
Yes, under all the conditions that Gary mentioned.
Commissioner Vega?
Yes, with the
Chairman-
conditions
Chairman-
set forth.
Chairman Thaxton? All right, you have an approval, 7 in favor.
We thank you very
Thank
much
you very
for
much.
your consideration.
Mr. Maracando, hold on one moment before you leave. Okay. Commissioners, we have resolutions to approve this evening. First resolution is for 217 East 24th Street LLC for property located at 217 East 24th Street, Block 2413, Lot 6, in the R2 zone. This application was heard on July 8, 2021. Application to add a second floor addition to an existing two-car garage for use as an office. At the conclusion of the testimony, there was a motion made by Commissioner Furman for the approval of this application, and which was seconded, and the matter went to vote. There were 7 in favor, 0 against. Commissioners that are here this evening who could vote on it are Commissioner Watkins, Commissioner Roheen, Commissioner Baralt, Commissioner Furman, and Chairman Dax. Will someone move this resolution, please? Commissioner Thaxton, is there someone to second it?
Second?
I didn't hear that. Who was that? Was that Commissioner Watkins?
Yes,
Thank you. All right, with regard to the resolution, Commissioner Watkins,
yes.
Commissioner Roheen,
Yes.
Commissioner Baralt,
Yes.
Commissioner Furman,
Yes.
and Chairman Thaxton. Second resolution is for 30 Barn Street LLC. Property located at 30 Barn Street, Block 4914, Lot 7, the R2 zone. Application to construct a new 3-story, 2-family dwelling on undersized vacant lot. At the conclusion of the testimony, there was a motion to approve by Commissioner Furman, which was seconded by Commissioner Dumas. Commissioners who were present who could vote on this matter are Commissioner Watkins, Commissioner Barat, Commissioner Roheen, Commissioner Furman, and Chairman Thaxton. Will someone please move this matter?
Commissioner Watkins moved.
Thank you, Commissioner Watts. Do we have a
Second?
That was Commissioner who? Who seconded? I didn't hear.
I
Commissioner
did,
Roheen?
yes.
Thank you. With regard to the resolution, Commissioner Watkins,
Yes,
Commissioner Barat,
Yes.
Commissioner Roheen,
Yes.
Commissioner Furman,
Yes.
Chairman Thaxton. Do we have any other official business? And then I want to talk to everybody off the record after. All right, I don't think there's any other business that needs to be attended. Chairman, if you could close the meeting.
everyone enjoy their weekend.
Right, off the record. Commissioners, sit tight for one moment.
Mr. Chairman,